Hi there. I wanted to take the time to actually talk about social media and Facebook reviews and Yelp and Google and things like that when it comes to a small business and the impact that it can truly make on a small business this day and age when people really just take to social media. And I really wanted to spend some time explaining from a small business owner's perspective how that can impact us and just to really maybe hopefully give a different perspective or a different set of eyes of looking at some different things. So I feel that I have three businesses, and of the three businesses, by far the one that we will have the most complaints on or the most criticism or things on is my restaurant. It's obviously the most turnover with things and turnover with employees and so many things, and so that's common. We could have an average of a complaint every other day easily. When people go into a restaurant, and I'll pick on Nota Burrito this example, but any restaurant in general, and actually let me even take it a little bit further. When people go into a restaurant in a community that has the name on the front of it that is not known, meaning you cannot find that restaurant in another town. You're not going to find a national commercial that talks about it on any TV or on the radio. You're not going to go to Lawrence or to Kansas City or to Chicago or somewhere else and find the same name, follow along with me, as you would another place. So meaning a Nota Burrito, you are not going to find a Nota Burrito in Chicago or New York City or somewhere else because it is a local mom and pop. So that is going to have a little bit of a different weight when it comes to social media and reviews than it would be if I had a Applebee's or a Chili's or something per se. Because keep in mind, there isn't somebody that locally owns those. So if you ask for the owner, they will not be in the restaurant because there's not somebody in our state that owns those establishments. So that's a completely different beast. As a locally owned business, it is a little bit different because there's that only one name. It's not diluted over 30,000 restaurants. There's just this one. So when somebody visits a restaurant, a lot of times they're going to have frustrations over one thing or another. And we all know, we all have these friends that some things will never make them happy. So there's always going to be a complainer in some groups, and some people are amazing about it. We never know. But our goal as a small business is not to upset people, or it's not to rock the boat or make them ticked off. It is generally because we want to be in business and we want to employ, we want to keep our doors open and keep our town colorful and make it different. And we're not doing this for any of the negativity of it. And as a small business owner, there can be a lot of negativity of this. And so when you go into a small business in a restaurant and you have any sort of negative interaction, anything that creates some sort of negativity in you that would cause you to want to take to social media, review, whatever it is, I first off truly ask you to pause and reflect on why are you doing that. And most of the time, the reason you're doing it is because you're unhappy with the situation. You're unhappy that your food's cold. You're unhappy that your tacos weren't filled correctly. You're unhappy that they gave you the wrong meat. Those are all completely valid things. But as a person that likes to solve the problem and a business owner that deals with this, I'm asking you to first make your step to go to somebody in the restaurant that can actually solve the problem. Because I think so many times we've lost the fact of what is really the problem or what we're wanting done, or are we wanting attention on the social media. And so it is really hard as a business owner to read review after review on our restaurant or some other restaurant of people complaining about they did this wrong, they did this wrong, when if they simply went up to one of the staff at the time in the restaurant, or the minute they got home and discovered something was incorrect, if they would call, we would make it right. And if we didn't make it right, that there is a concern there, and that's where something should be done and addressed. And so my first request would be is that I want you to assess a visit. When you have gone and you're upset with whatever it is, before you sit down to your phone, your tablet, whatever, think, okay, what's the really reason I did this? Am I posting because I'm so mad that they counted my change incorrectly, or they did da-da-da-da? And if any of those things that you're complaining about, you're wanting solved and corrected, I encourage you to go to someone in the restaurant at the time and ask them to solve that issue for you. because that's the only way that we'll be able to solve it, and the only way we'll be able to correct it. Because as an owner, I don't always catch complaints on a local restaurant review page, or somebody that had posted that they were visiting and they didn't like. I mean, I don't catch those. And the only way for me or my staff to make things right is if it's brought to our attention. And the proper chain of communication is when there's an issue, to go directly to the source, which would be the staff, and say, this change wasn't correct, or this isn't the meat I ordered, or whatever is it, let them make it right. If they don't make it right, or they don't treat you respectfully, or they don't understand or address your needs, that is when I would then take it to the next level. Feel free to ask at any restaurant, can I speak to a manager? Do you have a business card for your manager or your owner? Because I promise you, any of your owners are not in business to make customers unhappy. We're not. We just genuinely are not. So I've assessed the situation. I'm mad. I talked to whatever. They weren't going to do anything. I hate that cashier. She's not nice and she talks too much. So I'm going to post. So I really want you to then take the next thing, is to step back and to think of, here's an example. I had a gal that came in and had ordered $2 on two tacos on Taco Tuesday. So in all reality, I profit less than 20 cents if they did not get salsa on a Taco Tuesday taco. So she came in and got 2 Taco Tuesday tacos and hated them, and which is fine. I mean, she's entitled to her opinion. I wish she would have asked us to try something different or whatever, but whatever. But then chose to do a 1-star review on the restaurant and post it. So from my perspective, first off, the restaurant has brought in as a profit less than 40 cents. Yet for the rest of my restaurant, I now have a 1-star review for a person that has visited one time and has bought 2 tacos. And so I think what people don't realize is that, things from the internet are out there forever. And when it comes to social media and ranking and advertising and Google and all these things, so many things are based on our reviews. And we often, as Americans, a lot of times act flippantly and out of rage, and we post things and we do stuff, and we then don't think about what can happen down the road, or how that affects us, or how it affects other people. And so I want you to assess the situation. Could this have been addressed inside the restaurant? Could it have been taken care of if I would have talked to somebody? 2, should I give them another chance? I mean, I know I had 2 tacos and they were the worst tacos I've ever had, but should I maybe go there and eat a burrito or something else? Or I want you to look at other options of it. I would love for somebody to go visit a place 1 or 2 or 3 times and give them a genuine try, and different employees. A lot of times people will post or hate because they didn't like an employee, or they'll base that they will never go back to that restaurant ever again. Well, that employee left like the day after you were in there to visit. Like, that's nuts to me. They were fired or they moved to Timbuktu, and you've now based forever and posted on social media, I will never go back to that restaurant because they had a horrible blah. It's just crazy to me. So think about that. If it's an employee base, is that employee still there? You might not like me as the owner. That's a different thing. You can use your money to vote that way and not eat there. But if it's not the owner, if it's not whatever, please, think about when it comes to the employees, because employees come and go. And, for somebody to have, especially in food service, to have somebody for a very long time is rare. So think about that. The other thing, so it's going to be on the wall forever. The other thing I really want to put out there is that people most often don't realize, besides the financial ramifications of it long term, of being on the social media and things like that, is that how unfair it sometimes is as a small local business, that things are put on us sometimes different standards than other ones would be. Pricing, consistency, procedures, things like that. But also, often when social media posts are taken and they are typically a negative post, they are coming from someone that has not been in the how do I word this? They typically have a paycheck. They receive a paycheck that somebody else signs. And they are not, gosh, this is so hard word. We don't have the ability to take onto social media and say, I went to the blood bank the other day and the nurse in the third cubicle is horrible and you should never, ever go there again. Or the cashier at Walmart is da-da-da. We don't do that. And most people's jobs are not affected by social media. That checker outer at Walmart or that such and such at Joann's or that whatever at Applebee's, they're not affected. But a small business, we are genuinely affected. And so when people will jump on a bandwagon of a negative thread or chiming in about this, that, and the other, you are financially affecting a small local business. And although, yes, a chain business that is corporately owned does employ people in Topeka, but it's a completely different beast. And so social media will never put out a chain. Social media will do a significant amount of damage to a small local business. And so I really, really want you to think about next time you are criticizing a small local business or something like that, to really think about, could this be handled first off social media? And how is this going to affect that business? And what are the long-term ramifications of it? So I hope this makes some sort of sense to you. It has been a common discussion with people often about our reviews and things that read them and see them and follow them and see me, pulling my hair out on this review or that review. And so I just really wanted to maybe put some thoughts to it from a small business owner's perspective and maybe give some insight on what we would prefer. So good luck.